Sorry, I was in something else till now. Good morning. Hi, good morning. Vipin, Ekshaj, Kranti, Nasrin, Sajia. Good morning. Okay, so let's jump on. So, did you try the practicals? What? All of a sudden stopped. Some pending, huh? Nice. How about rest of the people? Mostly done, huh? Some pending. Okay, take your time and do it. Today, let's talk about the next one. Very good, Sonny. Okay. Share my screen. Very good, Sad. Everything cannot be 2 table, na, except there will be 8 table also, 9th table also, 11th, 12th table also. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay, the next service that we're going to talk about is, I thought to talk about the CLI. So do you remember we have 2 types of AWS access? Yes, we have AWS access are 2 types. What are those? Do you remember? One is console access, right? The console access, the one which you are using UI based, and the other one is programmatical language. Programmatical access. Programmatical access here meaning mostly CLI. We are talking about CLI. So guys, how do you access this console? What using? Username and password, yes or no? Whereas, how do you authenticate programmatic access using what keys? Access key and secret key. Access key and secret key. So the GUI mode, till now we are using GUI mode. Let us talk more about on today's session is more about on CLI. So I just wanted to remind you guys, let's say for example, I have an IAM user. I have an IAM user created and which has EC2 permissions for it. And do you agree that for every IAM user, there are 2 types of access? That's what we are talking about. One is console and one is programmatical, right? One is console, another one is CLI. CLI, SDKs, whichever it is. So do they both have the same permission as IAM user? If the IAM user has EC2, so if we log into the console, he has EC2 permissions. And if we go to the CLI also, he'll have the same permissions or different? Same permissions only, right? Nice. So what is this AWS CLI? Guys, AWS CLI is nothing but, first of all, you need to download and install this AWS CLI on your laptops. So you have the command prompt on your you have the command prompt, right? You have the command prompt in your laptop, CMD. So from there, instead of going to the GUI mode and then going with all 7 steps of launching the EC2 instance, here you can launch the EC2 instance in one single command, in one single line command, right? So if you go to the CMD, here, and if you put anything related to AWS, will it generally work? No. So you need to install something, right? You need to install something. That something here is nothing but you need to download awscli.msi file. For Windows, you need to download what file? From internet, you just go to internet, Google, and just type awscli.msi file download. So you download it and then double click and install it. Once you install it, all the libraries will get installed. And from here, you can write AWS commands will get executed like this. If I put AWS minus version, as I have installed AWS CLI.msi file, so I have my CLI version. And remember, this AWS CLI works backend is Python only. Okay, so if you install this AWS CLI in your laptop, AWS CLI will get installed automatically. So on Windows, it is super dead easy, but on Linux, it is not very straightforward. You need to use commands to install CLI. You need to use commands to install CLI, guys. What are those commands? We'll see. You're getting it? Is it clear? Nice. So let me give a real-time example here. Let's say, for example, this is AWS. Okay. So it's AWS. And this is our laptop. Okay. Guys, that is our laptop. Okay. And how you are connecting to the AWS till now? So you are from here, you're opening the browser and you are getting connected to the AWS. Yes or no? So this is the browser. So you open the browser and you open AWS console, and then you are launching the EC2 instance. That's fine. And also from your laptop, there is also another way to access AWS. How? In your laptop, you can download AWS CLI, and then from the command prompt also, you can launch the EC2 instance, or you can access AWS services. So how do it? Using CLI. How do you authenticate, guys? How do you authenticate CLI? So if I go to the command prompt and I directly put AWS EC2 launch commands and then execute, no. First of all, you need to authenticate, na? How do you authenticate? So guys, there is something called AWS. If you put AWS configure, it will ask your access key and secret key details. Access key, secret key, these details will ask. See, access key, secret key, which region and which output. So whenever you're installing AWS CLI in the command prompt, from the command prompt, so if you install AWS CLI, guys, that can be a Windows machine, that can be a Linux machine. Both are same. Both has a command prompt only, na? Guys, from Windows also, you're using the command prompt. And on the Linux also, you're using the same command prompt. Whenever you install AWS CLI on Windows or on Linux machines, you have to, if you want to authenticate, you have to use these commands. AWS configure. If you put AWS configure, you will ask access key, you will get as secret key, and you will get asked region, and you will get asked output. All right. So output has three options. You can use table mode or JSON mode or XML mode. Nice. So whenever you execute any command, how does the output should look? The output, you want to see it in JSON format or XML format or table format? Which one is easier to look and understand? Table format will be easier because everything you see it in the table format. right? Region, what is the region that we are using? AP minus south minus 1. Whichever the region that you want to use it, you just go and put it. Access keys and secret keys, you know very well. You can copy paste that. So these are the steps if you want to access AWS CLI from Linux, or this can be from Linux or Windows. Linux and Windows. Same process. Okay. Na? Okay. See here. So in my AWS, I went and launched one EC2 instance, guys. Let's say that is a Linux EC2 instance. That's a Linux EC2 instance. So in this Linux EC2 instance, guys, if you want to access AWS services, what you need to install? In the install AWS CLI, na? Guys. In the Linux EC2 instance, if you want to access AWS services, you need to install AWS CLI, na? So if you want, so how do you authenticate AWS CLI? You need to configure what? You need to configure inside that what? Keys. Everyone write down that word. What do you need to configure after installing AWS CLI? You need to configure keys. But guys, is it good to configure the keys on the machine, because the keys will be stored locally on the EC2 instance? Can you tell me, is it good? Your access keys and secret keys will be stored inside your EC2 instance. Is it good? Definitely not good. Is it recommended to do this? Good way or bad way? If you're setting up the keys, is it a good way or bad way? It's a bad way. Keep this in mind. Configuring keys on the instance is bad way. Now you tell me, what is the good way, guys? I have the EC2 instance, Linux EC2 instance, and I have installed AWS CLI inside it, and I don't want to configure the keys inside it, but still I want to access AWS services inside it. What is the concept that we should use here? How do I access AWS services without keys? How do I access AWS services without keys? From here, excellent service, Ramesh. Very good. Role. Guys, roles will come into picture. So here, I'll create an IAM role. What kind of services that you want to access from the CLI? So those services, you give the permissions to the role. Let's say, for example, I want to access EC2 and S3 from the CLI. I want to launch EC2 instances. I want to create bucket, etc. For that, based on that, you create a role and then attach that role to this EC2 instance. Simple, khatam, right? This is the best way, right? So you don't need to configure the keys. You don't need to configure the keys. Just attach the role. Do you understand good way and bad way, everyone? So what is a bad way? What's a bad way? So bad way meaning, so how do you do? Launch EC2 instance and install AWS CLI. After that, configure keys and execute few sample commands. Yes or no? CLI command. So this is the bad way of doing it. What is a good way of doing it? Good way. So launch EC2 instance and install AWS CLI. Here, going to configure the keys? No. Attach the role and execute your sample command. sample CLI commands. Understood, guys? So you know how to create it. So guys, what are the steps? So launch EC2 instance. We know how to do this. Number 2, install AWS CLI. I'll show you today how to do that. Number 3, can't you create an IAM role? Create an IAM role and attach EC2 and S3 permissions. Hmm? Number 4, what you did? And then attach the IAM role to the EC2 instance. And then number 5, simply log into the instance and run the CLI command. Guys, yes or no? Good way and bad way. Everyone clear? So what I'll be doing is here is I'll show you both. I'll let you know both. So first of all, most of the cases, as per the security, you need to go for the good way. But you tell me, is it possible to attach this IAM role to my laptop? No, no. In that case, you have to definitely configure the keys on your laptop, right? Like that, there might be some requirement that you have to create or you have to configure the keys on your machine. It can be on your laptop, it can be on EC2 instance, anywhere. So what I'll be doing is I'll be teaching you how to set up this bad way. That meaning launching an EC2 instance, installing AWS CLI, configure keys, and we'll try to execute with sample CLI commands. And the second way is launch the EC2 instance, install AWS CLI, instead of configuring keys, create a role and attach it, and then run the CLI commands. Should we do it? Yes. So let's go to EC2 back and then try to launch an EC2 instance. Launch instance. So okay. Meanwhile, that is getting launched. Okay. Meanwhile, what I do is CLI. So I'll show you, I'll just try to explain how to install AWS CLI on the Linux machine. So guys, first of all, you need to install Python, yum install -y Python. And then you need to download some zip files from internet, from HTTP links. So in order to download these zip files, you need to have a small package to be installed that is called wget. So install wget first. And using the wget, you need to download this setup tools.zz file, zip file. Once you have downloaded that, what will happen? You need to untar it. Unzip it. So tar xvf is to unzip this. Once you unzip this, setup tools -7.0, this form directory will get created. Go inside it, and then you need to run this setup.py file. You need to install this, and then we need to download get.pip.py file using wget and run that. And finally, using pip, you need to install AWS CLI. Guys, understood this script? The steps how to install. So we'll run that steps one by one. So let's try to log in. So need to check security groups. It has been a while, right? So let's check SSH. My IP is not changed, so that's fine. Putty. SSH. Still initializing. Let's see. Okay, good. So EC2 minus user. EC2 minus user. Guys, sudo minus yes. Clear. Guys, see. So we have logged in. So do we have how to check whether AWS is there or not? AWS CLI, AWS minus version. What it says? Do we have AWS CLI installed on this machine? No. So AWS minus version, it says that AWS command not found. That meaning AWS CLI is not installed. Should we go and install? So what is the first command to install? We need to install Python. So yum install -y Python 2. You can go with Python 2. You can go with the latest version Python 3 also 3.9, whichever it is. Yeah. So let's install Python. So guys, our EC2 instance is using internet. That meaning, do we have internet access from the inside the EC2 instance? Yes. Okay. So guys, Python is ready. And then we need to install next yum install -y wget. Let's download that package, wget package. That is also done now. And using this wget, let's try to right here, download that setup files. Okay. And then guys, if you do ls, do you see that zip file is there now? That zip file is there, right? So we need to unzip that zip file. So this is the command to untar it. If you do ls, do you see this? CD, the directory got created. So if you do CD setup tools, you go inside it. If you do ls, do you see this? Setup.py file is there now. You need to just try to execute all this one by one. That's it. So, and then using wget, run that Python. And finally, using pip, let's install AWS CLI. Okay, now, guys, clear how to install. If I do AWS minus version, do you see this now? AWS is installed with Python 2.7. Is it mandatory to uninstall this after task finished? Bah. Why to uninstall? You are killing, you are terminating the EC2 instance itself, na? Why you want to uninstall all these things? Okay, so now AWS CLI has been installed, right? So, and now what we need to do? We need to configure, right? AWS configure. And it is asking access keys and secret keys. How do you get access keys and secret keys? From where? From IAM, right? So get, go to user, and you know very well how to get the keys, guys. Yes or no? Go to security credentials, and here create one sample keys. So I'm just putting copy paste this key, and I'm copying this key, secret key, and the region name AP minus south minus one, and output format is okay. That's everyone understood how to configure the keys. Yes, good. So now what I do, I have for you, I made it easy to just go ahead and then uh, run some commands, right? Do you see this? How many steps are there to launch an EC2 instance? 7 steps. So in that 7 step, you know very well what are the 7 steps now. Selecting the AMI, selecting the instance type, configuring the instance, selecting the storage, screwing the tag name, security groups, all these things, volumes, etc. Right? In that, there are few mandatory things that we need to select, and there are few default things that will take it. Yes or no? There are few, like mandatory. You need to select AMI. Mandatory type, you need to select instance type. Tags are mandatory. No, security group is mandatory, right? And then everything, VPC details, subnets, right? VPC take all these things. There are few mandatory things or few what do you call default things. So it is all up to you. So in this single command, in this single line, you can launch the EC2 instance, guys. So in your certification or in your interviews, what they do is basically they don't ask the complete line. So what they do is basically they'll just ask, what is the command to launch an EC2 instance? It is AWS EC2 run minus instances. So you should be interested only till here. So AWS, you know very well, and EC2, this is the service name, and this is the command name. So how to launch an EC2 instance? Run minus instances. So if you want to launch an EC2 instance, what are the details that you should give? You should give image ID, yes or no? How image ID, guys? So if you have your own image ID, you can get the image ID, or you launch an EC2 instance. Do you see this here? Image IDs. You see the image ID here. Get the image ID and how many EC2 instances that you want to launch. If it's your wish, and instance type is T2 micro, key name is 11 AM batch, and security group ID, we need to mention mandatorily, we need to assign security group ID, right? So do you know how to get the security group ID? Yes. How? So go to security groups, and this is the security group ID. You can get it from here also, or in details here also, security group ID, this guy. And then subnet, need to mention the subnet, right? If you go and launching the EC2 instance, selecting either of this, right? And then selecting this. Do you see this here? Subnet is mandatory, na? It's not mandatory, but it has no, if you go for no preference also, it automatically take. But if at all you want to put it in 1A, do you see the subnet ID? 9CE, subnet minus A6C089CE. So copy that subnet and put it here, whichever it is. 91. What is 91? It is 1B. Guys, understood? So I'm using only these things. So if at all you want to go with an volumes, tags, so you can just all the way go ahead and put everything. So I'm just what I'm doing, I'm just copying that and then just okay. So here I'm just copying this entire command and then hit it. So guys, our EC2 instance got launched, and do you see the output? Do you see the output there? This is the output. This is the output which is in table format, guys. So you can see entire thing what it is here from here itself. So if you go to console and if you see one EC2 instance is getting launched, do you see this? The second one got launched. See how much time it took for you from the CLI and how much time will it take it from the console. Understood the power of CLI, guys? So that is how to run the EC, how to launch the EC. Guys, no one will remember the entire command. So we have from internet, we have AWS CLI. Let's say, for example, okay, launch EC2 instance from AWS CLI. Put it. So go here, run instances. So you have the command line, AWS CLI command reference. So for each and everything, you will get the commands. So if you come down, these are all the parameters you have it for the run instances. So inside that, we have used only image ID, instance type, key name, security groups. So we have used only, but if at all you want to go for everything, you can go for select it. So if you come down, there will be an example that you can use it and run it. Oh, these are all the big instance types. There will be a yeah. So the EC2 is a very big thing, right? So if you come down in somewhere, do you see this here? Examples. To launch an EC2 instance at default subnet. Do you see this? Copy this and then just modify according to your needs. So output is like this. If you want to have a JSON output, you will get the JSON output like this. Guys, everyone understood? So how to stop the EC2 instance? What is the command? Stop minus instances. So if at all you want to stop, let me go ahead and stop the one which we have launched. So get the instance ID here and then put it, get the instance ID. See how I'm stopping it. Put it and then hit it. So it is now stopping condition. So if I go back and refresh this, do you see this? In single shot, single command, the instance is getting stopped. So guys, like this, you can do many wonders and magics from the CLI. So you can start the EC2 instance, you can terminate the EC2 instance. Guys, can you tell me what is this doing? This line? Creating tags. To which you need to creating the tags? So let's say, for example, for the same EC2 instance, I want to create a tag. Get the tag and then take this and then put it. Guys, for the EC2 instance, do we have any tag here? No. Let's put it and refresh it. Do you see this? CLI demo tag, we got it here. Got it? Right? What is key and then value. So it's really bullshit if I want to execute one by one, but you can really do it. So at least I'll explain. Can you tell me what this is doing? Creating a volume. For creating a volume, what all the things that you need? Get the parameters and then put it. And this is attaching a volume, detaching a volume, deleting a volume, right? Terminating the EC2 instance. Describe key pairs. How many key pairs you have it? You will get it. I'm just playing now. So we have 11M batch key pair and test key pair, right? So this one, creating an AMI. There is a question, can I give any random number for the AMI? How can you give random number for AMI, Sony? There should be an image present, right? There should be an image present. You have to give that image ID only. You cannot give the random number. So creating this image, deregistering, deleting the snapshot. And guys, do you remember this URL 169.254, 169.254? Remember that? Metadata. So if you use curl http 169.254, latest minus latest slash meta minus data. So if at all you want to get the details, metadata console, data of the EC2 instance, you run this command and you have all the parameters here. Let's say, for example, run this at the end. Let's say, for example, I want to get instance ID. Get the instance ID. Do you got the instance ID? Or else, if you want to get IP address, for IP address, it is, if you want to public IP address, put it. You'll get the public IP address. And if you want to get local IPv4, that is a private IP. So guys, if at all you want to, from the CLI, if you're writing some script or you are doing some automation and you want to retrieve all the instance details, you can use this URL and then get all the details and you can put it in variables and you can do the magics. Right? So I have listed only few EC2 commands here. So coming to S3, for example, so how to create a bucket? Let's say, for example, guys, AWS S3, what is the command to create a bucket? It's MB. MB meaning make bucket. And then do you remember in S3, I told you URI, S3 colon slash slash, and let's try to create a bucket. Let's say for 11 a.m. test BKT minus minus region. In which region that you want to create? Let's say in Mumbai. Can I create a bucket? See, AWS S3 LS. Do you see this, guys? Bucket has been created. So if I go to S3, bucket might have created there. Do you see this? Guys, understood? So you can do based on your requirement, you can just go and run any commands, or if you write a script using the collection of this command, that will become a script automation. Right? And what is this doing? MV command is used for what? Move. Can someone tell this? What is this doing? Upload. Excellent. Uploading. So you are moving from your local, guys, you have your local test.txt in your laptop, and you are moving to this S3 bucket with the name called test2.txt file. This one, you are moving from one bucket to another bucket. So this one, you are moving or downloading? This one. This one. You are downloading or uploading? You have S3 first. It is downloading. So you are downloading from S3 to local as this name. And if you want to move all the objects, including the folders, to your current directory, you have to use recursive. If you use recursive, all your subdirectories, subfolders, everything will get downloaded. What is this doing? Hmm? Yes. So you are moving from local to S3, everything you're uploading except start.jpg files. So like this, guys, I have give you few commands so you can execute these commands, right? How to remove the buckets. Finally, should we remove the bucket also? AWS S3 RB, remove S3 colon / 11 AM test BKT - region AP - south -1. Gone. AWS S3 LS, no buckets now. So we can sync it also, guys. If we have two buckets and if two buckets data should be same, and you can use the command called sync, and then you can sync from your S3 bucket to bucket, local to bucket, or bucket to local, or whatnot. Yes, you can do. You can make the bucket public, or you can make the bucket private. You can bloody set up this static website hosting also using this S3 command. So I have listed on EC2 and S3 like this. You can do whatever you can. Let's say, for example, you want to create a load balancer, right? So do you need to panic? No need to panic. Create load balancer, AWS CLI. Go there. Right? So get the, do you see this? AWS ELB, create load balancer name is nuts, except blah, 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 blah. See? This is how to set up HTTPS load balancer using certificates. Right? So it's just all about search it and then take the command and modify accordingly. Understood, guys? Will you able to set up this? So I'll send right away. I'll send it to Sagar. Yesterday also I need to send that. I didn't have time. So now itself I will send this command documents and PPTs also, right? And then you can set it up. IAS service is on Windows. So we are doing Linux. Ramakant, I am copying your same question. Okay. I'm copying your same question. Go to Google, put the same question I'm copying, enter. Do you see these bloody steps? Do you see this? So IaaS is a internet information services where you can host your Windows applications there. So on Linux, it will be Apache, Tomcat, or whatever it is. But on Windows, so you need to go ahead and then enable that IaaS manager. And then you just go to the particular folder. There will be something called default website folders. There you need to go and copy paste your application and run the website. So this is completely opposite. We are not talking about IaaS here. Okay, so we are learning AWS, not IaaS, or that is inside the machine. Guys, in our user data, what is the web server that we have installed in EC2 section? In EC2, we use user data, right? There we have installed one web server. What is that web server name? Web server name. So Rahul, you're asking again how to launch web server. Sony, very good. So will you able to set up all these things? Run it and terminate it. So guys, your task would be, you have to do bad way, good way, and from laptop also. So from your laptop also, from your laptops also, can you configure this one? So we did this. From here to here, we did this. You have to set up the bad way. You have to set up using IAM role good way. And then from here also, you need to launch the EC2 instance. Simple, right? Same how you did on the Linux instance, configure it and run. You will be running the commands from here on your Windows server or in your Windows command prompt. Take the screenshot. Yes. So you should have a place where you have to create it. That's the reason why you can create it from our command prompt also, Sony. From command prompt also. So we should have a terminal, right? We should have a terminal. First of all, you need to launch, do everything. So for that reason, we have launched one EC2 instance and then Linux instance, and then we are launching the instances. There should be one way, right? We are not giving any number for image ID. What's that? The image ID will give there. We are not give any number for image ID. We will not be giving the, how? You have when you're launching the instance, you have the image ID. This is the image IDs. You can launch the EC2 instance using this Amazon provided images, or you can create your own AMIs. I teach you how to create an AMIs. You can use your own custom AMIs image ID also. For every image, there will image ID. Okay, this is the way, but sir, this will duplicate. Yes, ma, I'm just giving an examples. So in real time, you are, it's not about duplicate. I don't know what question you're asking, but there are different ways to do it. Yes. We are not creating AMI. We are using the AMIs and then we are launching the EC2 instance. So from console, you are launching the EC2 instance, but from the CLI, how to launch the EC2 instance, that is what we have learned. Yes. On Windows, command prompt, CMD, right? On Linux, this is the place. Both are command prompts only, right? Nice. Did you took the screenshot? Great. Any questions? Okay. Can you give me the final CC for today? Yes, I will do it right away, Sagar. Image ID is prerequisite, Sony. You don't create any EC2 instance directly using CLI. I'll create EC2 instance. But if you want to create an EC2 instance, how do you create a EC2 instance without image ID? Image ID is not provided by you. It is provided by AWS. Image ID meaning what? EC2 instance image ID, na? Images, you forget about image concept. So AWS managed images are there, na? Right? So you can launch an EC2 instance using AWS provided AMIs, or you can launch the EC2 instance with the AMIs that you have created. If you don't have any AMIs, go with the AWS provided AMIs. Launch it and do all the stuff. You create your own AMI. After that, you use your own AMI ID in your scripts. Yes, Santosh, that's right. Yes, Ashish, right. Good. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next topic. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.